Hello and welcome back to Christianity Calling. So today I have another 3-point video for you as usual. But before we get going, I have a new little segment on the channel which I like to call Road to 1K, which is 1,000 subscribers. As you can see, I've got this little whiteboard with some stars attached to it. There's 9 stars currently there because I've got 9 subscribers. And what we're going to do is whenever I do a video, I will add the stars representing the new subscribers to this board, and then I will share with you how much progress we've made. If you want to add your star to the board, then all you need to do is subscribe, and then in the following video, obviously you will see the increase in the stars. Now, this is all dependent on whether I actually remember to have the board in the video, because sometimes I'm sure I will forget to put that board in the video. But that's the new segment, so my goal is 1,000 subscribers for now. I might do a goal after that as well. So if you want to help me accomplish that goal, all you need to do is subscribe. If you think to yourself, well, I've not really watched any of your videos yet or anything like that, then feel free to watch this video. If you like it, if you're kind of resonating with the stuff I'm talking about, then you can obviously decide to subscribe or not, depending on your thoughts. So, with that being said, today we have another 3-point video. I have got my notebook here, and today's video is going to be how to stay spiritually strong in a secular world. So this is quite an apt one for the kind of time we're in right now, and the time we've been in for a little while now. There is a very strong focus on the individual, on me, on what I can accomplish, on what I can do, all of that sort of stuff. And obviously, from a Christian perspective, that is very problematic. And it ultimately, if you're going to do things without Christ, you're going to come to a place of extreme difficulty, extreme hardship, and all of that sort of stuff, which we are seeing with people. And that's why people, at least in my opinion as a Christian, that's why people are now sort of returning to Christ. They're realizing that they need that depth. They need Christ there in their life, rather than going off and trying to do things on their own and all of that sort of stuff. And also, more generally, they need a deeper connection. They need a deeper connection to their cultural past. They need a deeper connection spiritually and stuff like that. So all that comes into it. But number one in this video of how to stay spiritually strong is decrease your social media use. Now, I know this is a difficult one. I know that we all struggle with this. So I'm not necessarily advocating that, we need to just get rid of social media straight away or anything like that. This is going to be a process for all of us, because we are the generation, and the generation coming up now is the generation who have been on social media. We've had that behavior reinforced in us over many, many years, maybe even decades at this point. And so it is going to be hard for us to come off social media, decrease social media use. But I do think it's definitely important if we want to stay spiritually strong. So social media is filled with temptation, pride, lust, envy, laziness, with the scrolling and stuff like that. And I do think here, and unfortunately it's been the one platform that I've been most involved in, I do think here particularly of Instagram. You see on there all the young girls with hardly anything on, and whatever you do, it seems that on occasion, or even reasonably frequently, things like that pop up on your feed. That obviously relates to the sin of lust from a male perspective, of course, in that way. So you have that on there. You have pride in the sense that it feeds this individualistic tendency. Oh, I'll put a photo on there of what we did last week, and I wonder if I get some likes on it or something. And it can be something very basic. It can be something where you don't even think it's you're attached to it or anything, but actually there is a little seed, a little tiny seed of pride there. So there's all that sort of stuff. Envy, obviously, with Instagram. People put these wonderful photos up of being, in the south of France or something, and we've got the husband and the wife there, and we've got the kids, and it's all lovely, and we've got the BMW in the background, or whatever the good cars are these days, like Lamborghinis or something. I don't know, something like that. What's the other one? Bugattis and all that. Whatever. They've got something like that, and oh wow, isn't that cool? And if you're a guy, you envy the guy. If you're a woman, you envy the woman. So it's, social media, it's such a blooming difficult thing, and we all battle with this, and we all have this if we're on social media. But recently, and particularly recently, I have realized that if we want to get to those higher spiritual states, if we want to really be developing spiritually, we have to come off social media. Not only decrease use, because you can do that and stuff, but ultimately when you go back onto it, you could get sucked into it. A lot of us do again, or you just encounter those things again. So ultimately, and this is an ultimate perspective, I'm not saying that you have to do this now or anything like that, but ultimately I think coming off social media is much more beneficial than even simply decreasing our use with it. Now, I've said here what I've already kind of stated, so I'll just briefly talk about this. The problem is we cannot have full control. Oh no, I haven't talked about this bit actually. The problem is we cannot have full control of what we see. So with Instagram, you can set content preferences. If you didn't know, you can lower the amount of sensitive content coming through. You can lower the political content, all sorts of different things. You can put like not interested to certain posts and stuff, which I've done. However, we cannot have full control. There's nothing on there. This is sneaky, isn't it, really, if you think about it? And it makes you think of the devilishness of social media. As far as I'm aware, at least, you can't on Instagram just control it fully, like completely, that you never see certain things, like completely 100%. The algorithm will still pop things back up into your feed and stuff. So we can't have that full control. Therefore, posts that stir lust or envy or anything like that can pop back up into your feed. The best thing, therefore, is to remove the temptation completely. But I did comment here, like I said a minute ago, but let us do it in a pace that feels right. We don't have to do it straight away. And in fact, there is an argument to be made that if we do things like that, if we remove things that we're still attached to straight away, that might actually not be beneficial. The devil might just come back in stronger, and then you just go back into it based on the emotional influence that has on you. So sometimes it's more wise to just slowly decrease these things and then get to a point where you can quit it completely, not necessarily straight away. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it straight away. There might be a conviction in your heart that is led by Christ that allows you to do it straight away, and that's brilliant. And I don't stop that, definitely if that's in your heart. But for other people, it might be that it's just a gradual process. So doing that, definitely. And that removes this online devilish temptation realm to quite a good degree. So that gives you a strength, or it takes away something that might turn into a weakness that would tempt you. So that's one big thing. But again, we have to be kind to ourselves. Number 2 is a kind of larger version of this. Number 2 is do the opposite of the world. So in general, abandon this collective focus on money, wealth, status, lust, accumulation, in general, materialism. all these people on Instagram, again, you see it on social media, not only with the wealth and the cars and, oh, I'm in Dubai and, and all this sort of stuff and the accumulation and the bags from the shopping malls and all that. And the girls with all these fancy clothes and all these nails. And, oh, I wonder why that girls now have pointed nails. Oh, is that devilish by any chance? But, hardly anyone blooming sees that, do they? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just getting a bit frustrated because I get frustrated with the devil. This is my problem. I get frustrated with all this stuff. I'm not perfect myself, for one. That's one thing. So I don't really have the right to get frustrated at it. But also, in my frustration, I get taken out of the love of God. Because if you're one of these great high saints, they wouldn't even be frustrated at the devil, because they'd be so in the love of God and in the presence of God, in that joyous sense, that they would know that the devil is already overcome. It's already done. The battle's already won and all the rest of it. But anyway, it's just me. But anyway, you see all this stuff. You know what I'm talking about online. All this collective focus on all this stuff. And what's the other thing that we see with this? Those who focus on this through an ever-increasing devilish influence become self-centered and taken away from the virtuous values of charity, self-sacrifice, all of that sort of stuff, and like a deeper love for others. You see it online, and you have the obvious extreme things of this, where you see some, rich person in some sort of country, and they're being really, really rude to a waiter or to a doorman or something like that, and we all kind of go like that. We all cringe at it, and we're like, well, who are you? Why are you thinking that you've got that right to be like that, and be snobby and self-centered and all that? And that's for a devilish influence. That is literally a devilish influence, because the materialism first captivates them and draws them in, and then they keep going into it over many, many years, months and months and years, and then they just invite the devil in more and more and more until they've got almost like, it's not an incarnation of the devil. That's wrong to say, because the incarnation of the devil is, if you actually really think about it, is only fully present in the Antichrist. If the Antichrist would be an individual person, which I know there's a lot of debate on that, rightly so. But if the Antichrist was an individual person, that is the only person in which the devil more fully incarnates. It's the opposite to the divine Trinity. So you have, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Well, you have the devil, which is the Father, the Son, which is the Antichrist, and the Spirit, which would be like the wayward spirit, the evil spirit. So the evil version of the Holy Spirit in some sense. So there is a kind of reverse Trinity in some regard. And that is, obviously the Antichrist would be like the incarnation of the devil as the Father in some regard. But anyway, it's obviously not to that degree or anything, but there is a devilish influence embedded in the person more, because of they're going into all the wealth and the power, and it tainting them more and stuff. And these are objective things you can see. It's a conceptual framework, a model for the objective world that we see. Obviously, in a secular view, they would say it in more atheistic terms, more psychological, scientific concepts, but they all have correlation to the more religious Christian frameworks that again can be seen objectively. So it's all the same thing. It's just two different languages essentially. But anyway, so these people, if they're in the world, they are taken away from those virtuous values. That's really, really dangerous. And so whatever we see a large number of people doing, or we see, the people getting engaged in the world in these particular ways, we need to first question it, and we need to analyze these behaviors that people are doing in the world, and we need to really have discernment on, are these things positive that people are doing, or are they negative? And it is often that we see in the world with these sorts of people, or even a collective group, that these things are negative things. These are more evil things. These are things that pull us away from God. These are not things that are aligned with God. And we know that from the Bible. We know that from Christianity, that they're opposed to that. So we really need to have discernment with the world, what we're looking at. Are these things devilish or are they not? And we need to constantly go back to what is biblical and what is godly. Because I will tell you now, the world at the moment, and we all know this is completely obvious, but the world at the moment is not aligned with God. And so we really do have to consider what we're looking at and what the world is doing and what we should actually do following biblical principles. So that's the second one. Number 3 is one that is more focused on God. So those previous two are kind of like more evaluating the world, considering the world, looking at the devilishness of the world, and just kind of trying to close ourselves off to that. But this third one is actually reinforcing more fully the positive values. So we're getting rid of the bad in those first 2 points, and then we're bringing in the good, essentially. So number 3 is focusing intensely on God and virtue. I wrote here, in this world, and particularly in this more sinful world that we've got going on now, we must increase our focus on God and virtue. There are so many temptations and difficulties that we have to remain focused on these things. We have to remain focused on God and virtue. To focus on God, and I've been quite bored with this, to be honest, but to focus on God means simply to increase our Bible study, our prayer, our church attendance, our connection with other Christians, our charity work, self-sacrifice, all of that sort of stuff. But we shouldn't simply fall into a mechanical relationship with these things. We can't make it that we're just doing these things mechanically. We have to do these things with love, with joy, with passion, with care. And we have to really feel them. We have to be emotional in this very, very positive way for all these different things. That is, I cannot stress that. We really do. When we're in prayer, we have to have an emotion that is felt. We have to have that deep relationship with God, personal relationship with God. We have to feel deeply that joy, that care, that love for others when we're doing charity work, when we're involved in church, when we're, connecting with other Christians, all that sort of stuff. And again, in Bible study, we really have to allow the Spirit to be there present when we're doing Bible study. So it's not necessarily that we're just taking out the bad and we're just sort of inserting the good in quite a mechanical way. That won't do. That's not enough. We need to insert the good in an emotional way, in a joyous way, as we get taught in the gospel and, in the New Testament in various places. So, yeah, joyful. And of course, in the Psalms and things like that, there's that focus on joy for the Lord and stuff. So, yeah, that's what we need to do. So we need to remove those bad, bring in these good things in a very deep, powerful, emotional way. And that will really, really help us stay spiritually strong in a secular world. So I've just wrote here, for concluding very briefly, combining these 3 points and pursuing them effectively will really help strengthen you in this world. It'll keep you with God while you're dwelling in this world. Keep strong and keep focused as best as you can. Now, it's a journey. I know that. I understand. It's hard. We're tempted. We go into things. It's difficult. But I just want to say, keep strong, keep focused as best you can. You're doing well. You're doing good. Just keep that focus. Keep that community. Keep all of those good things in your life. And that will be massive for you. It'll be so positive. It'll be so rooted in God, and virtue and all that sort of stuff. I just got cut off because my storage is full. So I think that is God telling me, well, we can wrap it up now for this one. So yeah, just stay strong with all this. Keep going. We've just got to keep focused on God. So with that being said, I will leave it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any comments, please do drop them down below as always. And if you would like to subscribe, please feel free, and you can get your star on that board in the next video. So yeah, I will see you in the next one, guys. See you very soon.